everyone's hearing. That's good. All right, as I was saying, there were some hopefuls going into the game. I wasn't so hopeful because unlike most sports fans who think with emotions, I am extremely objective, especially when it comes to the Reggae Boyz team and their ventures. Going up against the United States, we recruited a number of United States-based players as well as English-based players. I did an episode a few weeks ago basically insinuating that if you are coming to play for the Reggae Boyz solely because you were rejected by England, I am not for it. And some persons took it personal. That's the way it is. It is sports. My skin is thick enough and my back is broad enough, so I don't mind criticisms. I don't mind the unfavorable opinions. It is how I am, and you're free to say whatever you wish. But at the end of the day, a lot of players who decide to play for Jamaica when they're at 30 or 31 or 32 years of age, they do so solely because they've exhausted all their options, to then put it mildly. We saw some very promising players represent the Reggae Boyz on Thursday. Lowe in particular, he scored the goal for the Jamaican team, and I personally was impressed. But I think we have a more intrinsic problem than just the players and the batch that we have currently representing the Reggae Boyz. I think the team, I've said this on 1,000,001 occasions, it lacks chemistry, and this is primarily because the coach of the Reggae Boyz team, he doesn't have a structure to his play. Now, Theodore Whitmore, don't get me wrong, he has done okay for himself, but for the most part, I think he is not the one to take us to the World Cup. If the Reggae Boyz team is to qualify for the 2022 World Cup in Qatar, it will be a one-off walk-ups then in Jamaican terms, because what Tapa is doing now, a 6-year-old can do it. It doesn't really take much. Now, looking back on the statistics of the game, I am not one who's big on statistics. Let me lead with that disclaimer. But I was appalled. I watched the game live, and as soon as the game concluded, I decided to take a look at the stats because I didn't see anything whatsoever that showed any promise in the team. There were some bright sparks, some good moments, but for the most part, the United States team was toying with the Reggae Boyz because they were clueless for majority of the game. The goal that the Jamaican team scored was a counter-attacking goal in which Andre Gray showed his quality. He held up play brilliantly, and with a strike of luck, the ball went through the legs of the United States defender, and Jamal Lowe tucked it away brilliantly. One of the best goals of the game, in my opinion. Now, what did we get from this game that Jamaica played? Was it a case where we are impressed because we brought in some British players who are showing their class in the Reggae Boyz colour? I don't think so. I think most of the players that were brought in, they're expected to do well because they're playing for top clubs. Jamal Lowe is playing for Swansea, Andre Gray is playing for Watford. These are Premier League caliber clubs, are clubs that are fighting to be back in the Premier League. Mariappa, really good as well. He had a wonderful game, to say the least. But apart from those three, really, I didn't see a whole lot of promise. The team was unfit. They didn't have any chemistry. The coach didn't have any ideas. And when the goal scored, he was celebrating. I could see he felt some relief that they had scored. It wasn't a case of can we win this game? It's a case of can we score a goal? That's the impression I got from Tapa when Lowe scored that goal yesterday. And it says a lot. It says a lot both about the expectations of the manager as well as the expectations from the team, then put it that way. I think we as fans need to be more realistic. We need to be pragmatic, and if someone isn't doing their job properly, we need to call them out. I know it's only their first game together. A few of the players, they didn't show up because the ongoing strike that's happening around salary and all of that. And there are even some who are saying, who are going as far as to say, if the Reggae Boyz had their full team together, then it would be a walk in the park against this United States team. But what is the Reggae Boyz full team? Getting Leon Bailey back in, getting Mikel Antonio, he's never played for Jamaica before, so okay, get him in. Andre Blake between the sticks. The United States scored some really good goals, so I can't even blame J.D. White for the goals either. So what difference would it make then if we had Leon Bailey and Mikel Antonio and Andre Blake and all these players in the team? I tell you what, it would make little difference, because if you have all the best players on the planet and a coach who doesn't know what he's doing, they will still look average or amateur, to say the least. Frank de Boer, he's currently coaching the Dutch team and he's only won 2 of his 8 games in charge because he doesn't have a clue as to what he's doing with the quality players he has at his disposal. Now, that's my 2 cents for now. I'll take a few suggestions. I'm gonna add a few persons on the call as well to hear their viewpoint on it, because as I said before, we reason too often when it comes to sports with emotions, and because you're emotionally attached to a team or to a country, it clouds your judgment, and at the end of the day we end up sounding extremely dumb rather than practical and pragmatic. All right, let's see who I can add on here. Yeah. All right, if you watched the game yesterday, or if you have any views whatsoever about the Reggae Boyz making it to the 2022 World Cup in Qatar, you can leave your comments in the comment section and let me know what you think. I'll be more than happy to address it. Usually I have a guest on to speak on it, but this live was extremely premature. I usually do it on a Monday, but we're doing it tonight regardless, because it needs to be said that Theodore Whitmore is not ready for this batch of players. Maybe if we had a bunch of average players, then he could be given a pass. But right now, as things stand, I saw them on the pitch yesterday, and that team of players could do far better with better management. I mean, the entire good evening, boss. Good evening. Welcome to everyone on the live so far. Welcome. We appreciate your presence. We will be doing a very short live this evening. I won't stay with you too long, probably an hour or so, just to touch all the pointers that I have here, and then we will reconvene on Monday as per the usual schedule. All right, looking back on the stats of the game, as I said, I'm not one who's big on statistics, but I like to go through the stats when I'm doing my analysis every now and then. Now, the United States had 28 shots. The Jamaican team had 9 shots. Shots on target, the United States had 8, Jamaica had 3. So far, they've had 3 times the amount of shots and almost 3 times the amount of shots on target as well. For possession, the US team had 70%. The Reggae Boyz had 30%, so twice as much of the ball as Jamaica passes. Jamaica had 244. The US had 550. So roughly 2.5, they're about roughly 2.5 times the amount of passing accuracy, 71% for Jamaica, 86 for the United States. So they're not only having little of the ball, they're also, he doesn't have the experience to take us to the World Cup, but what happened yesterday, the coach should not be blamed. No, Howard, I take your point, and I take it with a grain of salt, because I know the angle you're going to reason from. You're going to say he's only had probably 2 or 3 games with the players, and the players, they're only playing together for the first time, and that sort of thing. I understand. I fully understand. But what was he trying to achieve from the players yesterday? Because quite frankly, I didn't see anything whatsoever. I didn't see what he wanted them to do. I only saw 11 players out there playing defense, and then when they won the ball back, they were trying to counter attack. It worked out on one occasion. We ended up getting a goal from it. Hats off to him. But nothing else for the rest of the game. We didn't create anything throughout 90 minutes. So what is it then? Like, I don't want to dump all the blame on him, but if you give your players a message and send them out there to execute the message, if they're trying or if they're following the instructions that you disseminate to these players, then it shows, and we the fans or we the viewers at home, we at least see what they're trying to do and we can appreciate that. But if you pick up 11 players and put them out there and they're all just running around chasing the ball with no objective, they weren't marking zonally, they weren't covering, there was too much space between the midfielders, and as such, Sergiño Dest looked like he was playing against teenagers. Sergiño Dest looked like he was playing against teenagers. Sergiño Dest is world class. People are going to say that. I don't think he's world class, and I don't think he's at a level where the Reggae Boyz should be giving him so much respect and making him look as if he's a world beater, because he's not. All right? And welcome Jamaican football. I don't think the objective is to win the game. The objective was to recruit players. Well, you recruit players prior to games, not during games. All right? So even if you don't go there to win the game, you as a player, you go there to win every game. Let me first and foremost say that. So if Dest is good player, him not reach created, I agree with you, Jamaican football. And that's why I don't understand why we were showing them so much respect yesterday, especially Sergiño Dest. He looked as if he was a midfielder at one point. He looked like he was a winger at one point. He was all over. It was a walk in the park for him, put mildly, right? And how did it get to this then? How did it get to this? Because we have big name players too. We have big name players. So what was the plan? What did Tapa say to those players? I'd really like to hear. I'd like to be a fly on the wall in that dressing room, because from what I saw yesterday, it was just go out there and play some ball. So I can basically see what you're capable of. Well, we know what they're capable of because we've been watching the different leagues across the world. So if you're using a game to recruit players, that means you're not doing it right. We are any scout whatsoever, they recruit players prior to games. And I've watched Casey Palmer, Chelsea preseason. I've watched him in the championship. I've watched him on the numerous loans that he's gone on. I've watched Low with Swansea. I think Tapa just wants to see English base. Him can take to work. Well, fine. Fair enough. He wants to see them. But that's what the scouts are for Jamaican football, right? So when you go out there, and if you played the game before, there is no footballer on this planet that will say they went out there to lose. So once they go out there, it could even be evening ball. When you go out there to play football, you go out there to win. And if you love the game and you appreciate the game, every time you step on that pitch, you're trying to win. So I don't buy the notion that he didn't go out there to win. He went out there just to see players. I don't subscribe to that mindset, because any player whatsoever, and Tapa was a former player, so I know that when he sends his players out there, he expects them to come out victorious. All right. Personally, from the game, there are a few positives. I liked a few of the players really. I like them a lot. Low, he scored the goal, but I think my favorite player on the day was Andre Gray. He showed a lot of composure. He had the US defenders shuffling a whole lot, and he was even involved in the goal as well. And I've seen him with Watford a number of times. Obviously, Watford was in the Premier League. That's not how it goes. If you want to see new players, send scouts or go to games like England. So exactly. So that's what I'm saying, Jamaican football. So when you're saying you recruit players up, you recruit players and then you put them out to play so you can see their quality and all of that. It doesn't make any sense, right? That mindset or that level of reasoning is, how do I put it? It's it's too lenient then. It's too lenient on the coach and on the scouts, because before these players came to the Reggae Boyz team, I'm pretty sure they must have been scouted and the necessary work put in to ensure that they can play for Jamaica. Because if they didn't scout these players, then they'd only be inviting players to come play for the national team just because they qualified to play, and that doesn't make any sense. To be fair, we didn't have a solid goalkeeper. Two of the goals could have been prevented with a better goalkeeper. How can you win with predominantly a defensive squad? That's what I'm saying. So I only saw players out there trying to defend, because I won't even say defending, because I don't understand Tapa's defensive philosophy. If you are a coach who understands or who knows how to organize defenders or to organize your team, if you put 4 players out there, if they've never played before, if you assimilate these players and put them out there and explain instructions to them, trust me, you will get results. You might not get it the first game, but you will see results. You will see promise or potential throughout the game. And it's the same thing at Chelsea. I explained that defense is not an individual task. Like goal scoring, people may say, okay, goal scoring is more individualistic than defending, because when you defend as a unit. So from the goalkeeper to the wing backs to the center half to the defensive midfielders, they all play as a unit, right? Now, if you're operating as a unit, then everything works in cohesion. And that's my analysis. As things stand now, I don't think Tapa has an idea as to how to organize a team, much less how to organize a defensive unit. All right. So him going out there and trying to play defensive football by playing 4-2-3-1. That's his formation with 2 defensive midfielders, or roughly, I'd say 1 core defensive midfielder and then another one who has to do the job or to get the work done as well. I think it's a valiant effort, but was it enough? Obviously, it wasn't, because they weren't on the same wavelength. Tapa have a style where he will even look on players in games like versus Mexico. Or just put them in the game. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. I think I need to add Jamaica. I need to add this person on the card, because it's Darren Moore, but JFF can't play him. JFF playing around. we need to understand that if you are a manager with tactics and with an objective, you communicate this objective to the players when they come into the camp or whatever it is, right? Different squads across the world, they bring in players based on the system or based on their objective that they want to achieve. So you will find that Gareth Southgate won't bring in a particular type of defender because that defender doesn't suit his mold or it doesn't fit into how he wants to play. You get what I'm saying? Tapa now is just bringing in players because you qualify to play for the Reggae Boyz. So he's bringing you in, and then he's being hopeful on the sideline that you will create something or you will show some magic when you go out on the pitch. That's not how it works, and no coach on the face of this planet operates in that way. You guys are missing the point. It's either cancel the game when the first team withdrew or call up players you want to look at, or expectation was too high. But what was the expectation though? What was the expectation? Because if you're playing a football game, you're playing it to win. So going out there and expecting to win, I know it's a bit hopeful. I was watching a few lives the other day, and all 3 of the persons on the live, they said that they were expecting a draw. Fair enough. And looking on from the outside in, I thought a draw was hopeful. I thought a draw was hopeful because in all my years watching Tapa as coach of the Reggae Boyz, I am yet to see what he is trying to achieve. How does he want to play? There is never one point that I can sit down and say, okay, That's a nice passage of play, or 3, 4, 5 passes put together. Up until 33 minutes into that game, the Reggae Boyz only had 24 passes. 24 passes up until 33 minutes. So let that register. Let that register into your head. And at minute 44, I remember telling one of my friends that this looks like it's 5 passes every 8 minutes, right? 5 completed passes every 8 minutes, because that's how I was dissecting the game as it went by. So is it then we don't have anybody who can pass the ball? You have something to say before you continue. Why do we call up our England reject? Why does we call our players England reject? You know, so okay, you want to know. Okay, yeah, this has been this has been a hot topic for a number of weeks now. Why people are saying, okay, why are you calling them England rejects? No, let me clarify this. I'm not calling the Reggae Boyz English players England rejects, right? So it wasn't a general statement. The statement was, if you are only choosing to play for the Reggae Boyz, having failed in 1,000,001 different efforts or tries to play for England, then why should we welcome you with open arms? Because based on what I'm seeing, you are an English reject, and Jamaica is your last resort because you've already exhausted all other options, right? So that's where the English rejects comes from. And if you try something 1,000,001 times, you try something 1,000,001 times and it doesn't work out for you, and you try, but it's rubbish because only Mikel Antonio rejected us, you can't play for England unless you in top 6. Well, Mikel Antonio was the one I spoke about. Mikel Antonio was the one I spoke about. I didn't call all the other players rejects. Mikel Antonio was the topic. He was the one who had just agreed to play for the Reggae Boyz, and I was addressing that. And as I said, if everyone had the same opinion, if everyone check the logic, if you were born in England, would you want to represent your place abroad? Yes, I would. Yes, I would. And look at it this way as well. Saka, he's playing for Arsenal now. He said he would not feel comfortable playing for Nigeria. I think Nigeria is the other option. Yeah. He would not feel comfortable playing for Nigeria because he was born in England, and although his parents came from Nigeria to England, he felt as if he didn't belong as much with Nigeria. I can appreciate that, but even if Saka decides, okay, I'm going to play for Nigeria, I can't blame Saka. But the problem arises if Saka tries to play for England throughout, Saka is currently 18, 19, throughout all his 20s, and he doesn't get the opportunity. Say, for instance, he had not gotten his debut for England. He does not get the opportunity throughout all his 20s. And at 30, he decides, okay, I'm going to play for Nigeria. Then Saka would be an English reject. And it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure that out, because it is logic. It's either you were accepted or you were rejected, right? If you're not accepted, you're rejected. And if you're rejected, you're a reject. So I didn't create the definition of it. I didn't create the definition. It's in the Oxford Dictionary, and it's in all other dictionaries as well. So it's my opinion, as I said, and if everyone had the same opinion, this world would be an extremely boring place, right? So I'm not wrong then Jamaican football, because Mikel Antonio was the person I was addressing. So when the statement blew up and everyone was saying, okay, he's calling all English players rejects, and no, that wasn't the case. And if the persons on here watch the episode, they'll realize that Mikel Antonio, he was the cover of the episode, and he was also the main topic throughout the discussion, because he rejected Jamaica on 4 previous occasions, prior to no accepting or agreeing to represent Jamaica. So he was the topic. He was the one I didn't even call him a reject. I asked if we're now accepting rejects. You get what I'm saying? So it is what it is. And I stand by my view. I don't change. My opinion has not changed and it will not change. And I agree. I agree. See, we're seeing eye to eye now because Ivan Toney, he's a really good player. He's still in he's 24? 24. And if he commits to Jamaica now, it will show me that this young man has patriotism and he really wants to represent Jamaica because he's in his prime now. If Mikel Antonio doesn't go to the World Cup next year, he will not have another opportunity to go to the World Cup, right? Because by the time the next World Cup comes around, he will be approaching 36. Now, what team is he going to make? Because Gareth Southgate, maybe he'll still be the manager of England team come 2026. He's looking for younger players, right? The Reggae Boyz, are we going to just accept him then again? No, this is the last opportunity for him to play in the World Cup, and that is why he has agreed to play for the Reggae Boyz, right? So there's no if nor buts and no other way of going around it. Has biggest heart. Yeah, I agree. I think Andre Gray was really good yesterday. He was really, really good, and I saw Howard, why is it wrong to call him a reject? I am born in Jamaica. I had a chance of playing for England over Jamaica. I would choose it. Exactly, but you would choose England. I can't bash you for that. I can't bash you for that. But if you choose England and England doesn't choose you, you're a reject. So it's not about you choosing it. It's about them choosing you. Because if he had the opportunity to play for England and it was all his choosing, he would be playing for England. No, he would probably be in the squad in the first team against San Marino yesterday. So it's not a matter of choosing, it's a matter of them choosing you. And the fact that they didn't choose you, that's why you're running back now to a team who seems desperate. All right. I welcome the English players with open arms. I welcome them. But my issue is patriotism and commitment. And Simon and I spoke about commitment a few weeks ago, and we were at a crossroads somewhat because he was saying he'd welcome the players once they're committed. And I was saying, if you're committed, then you shouldn't wait until you're 30, 31 to show that commitment. Because Mikel Antonio, I think he's 31 this month, you know. He's 31 this month. So come World Cup, he'll be 32. So you're going to tell me no, that this is commitment. No, I don't buy that notion. I believe that you have exhausted all your options. And as a result, you're coming back to the Reggae Boyz team. Everyone looking for the Reggae Boyz to qualify for the World Cup, but with the display of the team yesterday, we need a coach. Tapa have no system to me. I agree. We need a structure to the thing, and the disarray and the disorganization, it comes all the way from the top, and the JFF as a federation is disorganized, and that's why we're seeing it down to the ball boy. Right? Because organizations, they start at the top, and the philosophy, it is emulated as you go down the channel. And do we have a style? No, German, we already discussed that we do not have a style of play. It is extremely difficult for us to assess Tapa's objective because from where I'm sitting, there is none. I think we need JFF to be exactly. So we can't have JFF as the governing body of our football and they're not organized. And then we're expecting, okay, the national team to be organized, and we're expecting the under 23 team to be organized and the under 21, the under 20 team to be organized. That's not how it works. All right, let me add German here. Hello, good night.
Hello, good
Hello,
night.
good night, boss.
Uh, Nice to be on here speaking with you, man. I like your thing that you're bringing to us.
No
What what I-
worries.
what I,
It's a pleasure.
what I want to ask still is like we need a style of play, and we need a system, and it has to, and something must be done. I think we need a change at the top.
Yeah, at the top, meaning the federation.
Yeah, I think it's full time now. I'm way in Canada, Toronto, man, and I really want to
Same,
see it.
same.
And I really want to see this team qualify for this World Cup. And if this team don't make it to World Cup, you're gonna hear a lot of stuff because this is a great opportunity. Look at the squad that we have.
Exactly. And even without some of our star players yesterday, on paper we had a team that was capable of winning that game against the United States. So someone coming on here and telling me that Tapa didn't plan on winning that game, that's preposterous. And I think it sounds foolish going into a game and not wanting to win, or just the mindset that okay, they went into the game and they didn't want to win. And I think a lot of it came from what they saw on the day. Because if they saw a structure, they saw a system, a team playing with an objective, then people would have said, okay, they went down fighting. But it's almost as if they went out there and they laid down and allowed the United States run over
What I
them.
really think is Butler. Butler, he should be somewhere high up in the JFF ranks. He should be. I think with his experience, I think Jamaica
Craig,
really need to take a look at Butler. I think
Craig Butler.
he's the right, yeah, Craig Butler. He's the right man to bring us forward. I strongly believe in that. Not because of
Okay.
not because of
Viewers in the comment section, please let us know what you think about Craig Butler running for
we
JFF president.
we need that man. That man can take us to the World Cup with his system, and that man has a style of play.
Okay.
He got a
Good.
philosophy. He got all of that, and that's what we need to go for it.
Okay. All right. Sounds fair enough. Craig Butler is a very, very controversial fellow, but he, as German said, he has a style of play. He's hell bent on what he wants, and he oftentimes 9 out of 10 times gets what he wants. Him leading the JFF, or what do you mean JFF, or coaching the team? Because I don't think I got that right. Let's see what we have here. Welcome everybody who's on the live. German, I was asking if you wanted him to lead the JFF or to coach the team.
I want him to lead, not coach the team.
Okay.
I think Tapa is the man for the job. I honestly think he can motivate the players, but he definitely needs that style of play.
Okay. All right.
He doesn't he doesn't got a system. We know that, but he's trying, and he got limited resources as you can see.
Yeah. Butler or Simon, how are they saying? Yeah, I'll vote for Simon. I think, yeah, Butler can attract sponsorship because he has really good connections. I think Simon, good friend of mine, he has great ideas on how to move the federation forward. Really smart young man. And I think he believes in youth. He knows everything there is to know about Jamaican football. I'll vote for Simon as well. He was making a joke about it, about running for president and asking if we'd vote for him. But Craig Butler is like Mourinho, too controversial. He gonna fall out with everybody at some point. Maybe that's a tricky one. I can agree with that to an extent, but Mourinho gets results. So is it then we're willing to sacrifice probably a few years of controversy to ensure World Cup qualification then? I don't know, because with a federation you need stability and you need something to carry on forward past these players.
I would be very disappointed if this team don't make it to World Cup, man. I would be gutted, to be honest. And as you can see, the expectation of the people are very high right now. Just because it's
True.
a friendly. I didn't take the friendly serious. I know it was just like I would even say a B team. There's some players trying out. It was nothing crazy. You know, just looking at the players, new players coming in. So I didn't expect to even win the game. But everyone wants to win. Everyone wants to win, but you know, these players they need to form this squad and just work with a 32 any amount of players they're working with and just build up a system and make these players gel to go to this World Cup. That's what we need. This picking up this and all around is not make no sense.
True. I did a live a few weeks ago as well, and I lamented that I wanted Topper to identify a core and then work on building on that core. So essentially what this is getting a few players in that, you know, okay, these players are mainstays in the team. So if you have a central midfielder, if you have a goalkeeper, if you have probably 2 center halves, and then you build on those players. If there's a young talent coming in England or a young talent in the National Premier, I know the Premier League isn't going on now, but just for argument's sake, all right?
And the next
go ahead.
I see a lot of Jamaican players saying, "Oh, these players are England reject," but there's no football playing in Jamaica right now. So, where else are we gonna look? Are those players they're not fit? They're not playing no type of football. So, to get called up to the national team is gonna be very hard for them, which is very unfair for them.
Yeah. I don't have a problem with the English players coming in to play for Jamaica. Right? I think especially now we need them more than ever. The MLS is probably looking to start again. The USL looking to start again. We don't have any league that's in the midst and the prime like the English league, right? So the English players coming into Jamaica being seen as reject, that's rubbish. But Mikel Antonio is an English reject, and I stand by that.
It was nice talking to you though, and all the best, man. You know.
Yeah. No worries, man. No worries. Anytime. And thanks for joining. All right, you can touch your X at the top to jump off. But yeah, it's always good to get the opinion of viewers. I appreciate the opinions because sometimes I share my opinion on the channel and people, it's a monotone and he's just saying what he wants to say. But it's good to hear what people are thinking. If we wanted, we give experience and lots of goals. We need him. Oh, word. Well, we need everybody. If that's how you look at it, we need everybody. We needed Raheem Sterling too. But we'll give experience and lots of goals. We need him. Yeah. He's gonna play for Jamaica and he's gonna do well, but that doesn't erase the fact, right? And the fact is there. I didn't create it; it is there. So for those who want to research it, you can go research it. It is there. All right. Let me see if I can get the president on. But yeah. Let me see, go through the comments here, see who else we have in here that has something to say. Simon as president. Yeah, Simon Preston, really knowledgeable young man. He knows how to bring the federation forward. Exactly. Jamaican football. So it's as if we want to move the goalposts to say, okay, he's not a reject. He's not a reject. He's a reject. We need him, but he's a reject. And Football 90, good account and a smart person. Let's see. Football 90. It's always fun, and it's fun and games picking the brains of intelligent people who reason football with less emotions and more pragmatism. Because at the end of the day, if you reason sports with only emotions, then it clouds judgment and you don't see the bigger picture. All right? So put it that way. If you look at it from how I look at it, then you will understand a whole lot more about it. And that's primarily why I don't only watch football when my team is playing, but when all teams are playing. So if I get the opportunity to, I watch all the games that's on. But yeah, I I I think overall the game yesterday it showed us that there is hope. There is hope based on what we saw, the the heart that some of the players played with. Mariappa, really good. Liam Moore on the day was really good as well. And I'm looking on and I'm like, okay, these players are really, really good players. It's a really good batch of players. And imagine getting in the likes of Blake along with the other players who were missing, Leon Bailey. Then we can put up a proper challenge. But first, we need to get it. We need to figure out what is our objective. Our objective is to go to the World Cup, fine, but that's the big picture. We need to take a more micro approach. So what do we want to achieve during this game? What is our style of play? What are we going to do against this opponent? I don't think Tapa is taking the players to the board. Isaac Hayden is out for the season, so who is your defensive media? Has to be Kev Stewart. I like Kev Stewart. I like Kev Stewart. I think, I don't know. I'll have to look into it. Isaac Hayden, he was doing well for Newcastle up until his unfortunate injury. But at the end of the day, if the scouts are doing their jobs properly, or even if the scouts aren't doing their job and the manager has an objective or has a plan for the team, then other players will cover for areas where we fall short. Daniel Johnson can play defensive midfield, but we will need tacklers. Definitely gonna need tacklers, especially now or the style that Tapa is playing, or lack of style rather, that Tapa is using now. It's inviting a whole lot of pressure, and we're sacrificing a lot of the ball as well. So we are doing far less with far less of the ball, because I can't even say we're doing more with less of the ball, because even when we do get the ball, it's still unproductive, and the end result is minimal. So it's a bit tricky, because we have to understand what we need to achieve. Walker, Simon would have to answer that. Simon is currently scouting for the Reggae Boyz. I'm just assessing the game yesterday. I try to stay away from it as much, but sometimes I genuinely have to voice my concern, because I'm Jamaican and we love the national team. We all love the national team. We all remember, for those who aren't so young and here, we remember 1998, that feeling we got when the team qualified for the World Cup. So we love the team and we want to see the team do well. So that's why I don't want us to. Casey Palmer is a quality player. He is a quality player. Remember, this player spent how many years in Chelsea's academy? You know, he had a lot of pre-seasons with Chelsea as well. I think he stayed with the club one full season, I think. I don't remember, but he didn't get much game time, and then he went away to get more playing time. So he's a quality player, else Chelsea wouldn't have retained his service so long. All right, so we saw that in the game. He was good on the day, but as you play more with players, you get to understand the type of players they are. You get to understand where they are without even looking. Because if you play with a group of players, once you get the ball, you don't even have to look, because that player is supposed to be there or that player is supposed to be there. I have to also realize that football is not like track and field where you can switch allegiances. So it would be natural for players to hold out as long as possible. But Howard, this wasn't holding out. If you're going back on there, it wasn't holding out. He got called up to the English team, you know. He got called up to the English team. He just didn't play for the English team. He was on the bench for the English team on a number of occasions. The last time I think he got injured during the camp or whatnot and had to leave, right? And if I experience that fear, I feel, okay, advance so I can experience it. Okay, Jameer, I can tell you it was a wonderful feeling, and I hope you get to experience it soon. I know it probably won't be the same now because the ecstasy and the exposure to football, everyone is watching football, everyone has an international team and all of that. Because what we'll find now, because you've never seen Jamaica qualify, everyone has an international team outside Jamaica because what we don't expect Jamaica to do well. We don't even expect Jamaica to be at the World Cup, for Christ's sake. Right? So now you have the internet, you have everything. When Jamaica qualified for the World Cup, I think I was listening to the game next to the radio with my father. And then we had it was big celebration. The song was playing and everything. The feeling was just different. And as a young kid, with your father getting that feeling, it was very, very emotional and it was memorable. So hey, how you doing, bro?
How are you doing? You see,
Yeah.
you hearing me?
I'm doing good. Yeah, I'm hearing you. Good night.
Yeah, I'm well.
Yeah. Exactly what's happening here. Hence, you cannot blame him for holding out to see what will happen. So if he, Howard, what I'm saying, all right, Jamaican football, I want you to address this, right? I want you to address this because Howard is trying to convince me, what he says on here is you cannot blame Antonio for holding out to see what will happen. So that simply means he's not fully committed then. He was not fully committed at the time. It's simple logic, you know. It's either you were or you were not. And all right, let me put it this way, right? If you have a girlfriend and then there's one girl out there, you have a girlfriend who would do anything for you. In this case, the girlfriend is Jamaica. Do anything in the world for you, right? And then there's one tail out there that you're chasing. You love that tail out of this world. Anything you would do for that table, you wouldn't do it for this girl right here, you know? Right? And the only reason you start giving this girl around here, which is your girlfriend, the time of day, is because that tail out the road decides she don't want to know that. He is a reject, bro. No? It's simple put. It's simple put.
It's clear, you know. It's clear and it's evident, you know. And if we're going to look at it that way, you know, there's a lot of ways we can look at it, but you have to look at it from a side where you're seeing a bigger picture, which we are seeing a bigger picture based on what you are saying. And if we're talking about this player who we had shown interest in to represent our colors, and he wasn't interested at the time, you know, it is deemed to question his commitment.
Commitment
and his headspace. And we have to take things into consideration.
That's the same thing Simon and I spoke about a few weeks ago, and I did the episode, and everyone kept saying, "Okay, how can you call English players reject? Because people don't listen." All right, and it's not only a Jamaican thing. People in general, they don't listen. So you decipher what you want to decipher because you hear something or you overhear something, and then Norando says something to Jamaican football, and then two other persons down the line, the news is completely different from what I said. All right, because I said, is it a case then where we are accepting an English reject, and all of a sudden, all English players that qualify to play for Jamaica are considered English rejects? I don't know where that notion came from or where that argument came from, because the person who scored Jamaica's first goal at the World Cup was English based. He was even born in England. Yeah. So how could that mindset then come about? How could we as Jamaicans, because I'm living in Canada now, right? I live in Canada, but I am Jamaican. And if my child grows up in Canada, my child is still Jamaican, right? My child is Jamaican. And if my child decides that, okay, I'm going to represent Canada, and my child is trying 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 times to play for the Canadian national team, and the Canadian national team says, okay, no, we don't want it to, my child is a reject, right? So, like, there is no other way to it, and we are trying to put a different definition to it. There's no other definition to it. It's either you are or you are not. And in this case, Michael Antonio waited until he was 31 years old, which is, he's turning 31 this month. I think if it's not next week, it's this week he just turned 31.
It is just as simple as that. He's a reject. We can't go around the bush. We can't hide it. We are Jamaicans. And to be honest, we must stick to our reality, you know, and not to hide away or shy away and go around the bush and say, boy, he's not a reject. He's a reject. And we have to accept that. Whether he wants to come in now, that's up to him and up to the federation. But at the end of the day, he's a reject. And
Neil Varanga is saying anybody who want the best option for themselves, how can you call them a reject? I think it's very disrespectful. That's what I'm saying. So people are too thin-skinned, right? Yeah. It's either you are or you are not. And when we're getting emotions involved, that's when we start to cloud our own judgment and we don't reason objectively because we're too emotionally attached to a particular topic or to a particular team, all right, or person.
One of the things that persons don't understand, you know, is that when you are within the football diaspora and you are around the environment, you know, both as probably as a coach, or analyst, or a player, there are certain responsibilities that fall under you know, and so persons need to accept the fact that this player would have been contacted for probably about twice, and he rejected us. So why no? It is fair, and I've seen persons bashing Andre Blake because he's questioning whether these players have the right commitment. He's the captain of the team. He has the right to do those things. Persons come in and, hey, we can't let our emotions get the best of us. The thing about it is, these are players. These things will happen. But at the end of the day, don't go around the bush and not like, so, why? That's not the fact. That is the fact. There's no hiding from it.
Fire. We are not saying we don't need him. We're not saying we don't need him. We're not saying we don't need him. We don't need him.
You know?
Exactly.
And probably tomorrow or even later after the live, you'll hear that coach and from football in 90 and you know Jay Analyst has been saying, you know, but we're not saying the man doesn't deserve an opportunity to represent the national team. What we're saying is that the fact is he has been rejected by England, and he's now at Jamaica. And we have to question it. It is right to question these decisions. These are sporting decisions, basic decisions that you would question anywhere. So we can't
exactly
like it's not negative. We're not talking about negativity. You know? We are just putting the fact out there that it is okay to question his commitment.
I'm on the coach, pick the team, not the captain. We're in the world. We'll see. But I live in Toronto for those who need to know. I live in Toronto. I'm on the coach, pick the team. All right. Andre Blake, really cool guy. I did an interview with him in December, and I think he's quite approachable. He's the kind of person you can have an open discussion with. Him asking what he asks, I don't see anything wrong with it. So persons taking it the wrong way again, because as I said, they're too emotionally invested, right? If you are thinking logically and objectively, you will think the way I think and say, okay, he said, why no? Then I'm asking myself to, why no? Because you exhausted all your 20s. You exhausted most of your teens then, or your late teens. Now you're 31. Next year you'll be 32 in time for the World Cup. It's closer to us thinking then, okay, you're playing for the Reggae Boyz because you won't have another chance to go to the World Cup, right? Rather than saying, okay, you've decided now that you're fully committed to the Reggae Boy program. What formation did Papa use yesterday? He used 4-2-3-1.
hey, when you have these players coming through the system and making tremendous sacrifices to put the football at the level where it is at now, there's no way that a player would come out and say, hey, where were these players before? It is normal. These are normal things. We see it happening in the Premier League, the English Premier League, right across the world. You guys probably not seeing these interviews, but we're seeing them. These are normal stuff.
Howard Wilson has but I would feel uncomfortable playing for a country who call me reject. If we continue, we might lose him. Okay, so which one would you prefer? Would you prefer playing for the country who called you a reject or the country who rejected you? So answer me that in the comment section, Howard. So would you prefer playing for the country who called you a reject or the country who actually rejected you? Because those are the two options he has now. You know? So it's either those two or he goes and sit at home until the English Premier League resumes. And I don't think he has 4 more years playing in the English Premier League. So
he's a terrific player, and we'll welcome him with open hands because
amazing.
We accept his quality. But at the end of the day, the man is a reject, and we have to accept that. Is it because we're saying he's a reject why he might not come to Jamaica and represent? Then why wouldn't we question his mentality then, his approach, if that is the case?
Right. And if you're fully committed to the program, you show full commitment. I don't know. Like, Howard, I'm not trying to convince you, but it is my opinion. And as things stand, I won't go around the bush. I won't beat around the bushes trying to justify my opinion because it is facts, and facts don't need to be justified. All right. This live is gonna end. I'm gonna start it back in a second. All right. So give me like 5 seconds or so.